All right, so welcome to Sickcast, home of the sick guys. And you're going to hear that sometimes. Anyway, today we're going to do something super special, chocolatey filled awesome. We ever since we had that AJ guy on the podcast, we've had an idea for a game we kind of wanted to workshop and see if we can make happen, and that's a D&D inspired mecha game. And we were going to basically just use this podcast to throw out ideas and, you know, kind of document the process of trying to figure out how to make this thing work. Yeah. I'm Blake.
James.
And this is all we have. That's all we have so far.
And this is us. The story of us.
Us making a game, just two guys at a table with somebody else in the room too.
Cricket.
So,
cricket sound.
So pretty much the only thing I've come up with is that pretty much just want to call the giant robots megas, which is going to be magically enchanted generic armors.
Which I thought was a good acronym.
Yeah, because also, you know, you can be that way you can turn anything into a mega barbarian, a mega wizard, or whatever you want to do with that.
The thing speaking about magic, the biggest thing that I wanted to know was that, like, is magic still going to exist in the same way, or is it going to be completely different to where like the robots don't use magic, they use they shoot scrolls out or something, or they they use like a attachment of some sort instead.
That's what I was wondering. Should we have it to be where, like, if you are a wizard, do we want to have it to be where more or less your giant robot is reading off scrolls and casting giant spells, or do we want to flavor it more like it's using its like it has like a whole armament of different cannons and stuff it can use?
Yeah.
I think the main way we want to go about this is how D&D do we want it to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a lot easier to keep it all like 1-to-1, you know, like if they did just do magic normally. But if you wanted to go that route, you know, you could say that they have like some kind of, you know, like neural headset or something, and it connects itself to the robot, and it kind of flows their essence throughout it. Right. Or maybe there's like special like crystals or something that you have to collect so that your robot can more efficiently do that. Right.
Because my whole thing would be, so if we're going in more generalities, the whole thing was going to be that you can potentially have you're going to have your pilot character, and then you have your mega. And your pilot is your character, and he has different megas. He can have a bunch of different megas, and that he just buys, and then can turn those into a barbarian, a wizard, whatever he wants it to be.
So would we have multiple characters?
You would have one pilot with multiple pilots, or one pilot with multiple megas.
Yeah, so could we have like multiple character sheets then with multiple
megas?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be cool.
That'd be kind of like that was in my mind the crux of the game.
Yeah.
To where, like, if I was thinking about a general story, it was going to be like, I was going to say, like, you guys are basically mercenaries, and people come to you and say, we'll pay you to go rob this bank, or we'll pay you to hunt down this thing, and you guys go, I think it'd be a good idea for you to use your barbarian mega, even though it's not, you know, even though you don't have it outfitted super high leveled, and I'll use my rogue mega, or you can use your warlock mega, and I'll use my sorcerer mega. Have it to be where you guys can really customize and swap in and out what megas you use for what mission.
That'd be cool. I don't know. I guess you should have like some kind of limit on how much you can do that, just so every player doesn't have every class, you know?
Well, I would say you can do that, but the main limit I was going to have on that is, and this goes into resource management, XP isn't XP. Monsters that say like what XP they have on next to the little box, instead of XP, it's called resource. And that's how much shit you can harvest off of them, like their bones, their skin, whatever. Because also most monsters that you'll fight are actually kaiju. And that's what we were just swap the name. If you're fighting an orc, and a pilot can fight another orc that's pilot sized, versus you can also fight a kaiju orc. And then at that point, he's just the same size as a mega. And then whenever you fight him, he has like how much ever 25 resource, which converts basically directly into how much gold of worth of stuff you can get off of him. And then the only thing with that is like certain places just won't take resource as a form of currency, but a lot of places will. So like if you go to like a scrapyard and you're wanting to buy like megas from there, like they might only have level 0 megas that are basically just the frame, but they will take both currency and resource. That way you can use it to spend like that. And that economy will make it so that you don't just have somebody with shitloads of megas, or even if they do, you'll have 12 level 3 characters versus one guy who will have like he'll have 2 decently level characters.
So is XP and resource going to be like 1-to-1 then?
Yes. Like, okay. If you look on if we just flipped over the monster manual and we looked at like say a mind flayer, how much ever it says a mind flayer gives you for XP is how much resource you can harvest from that thing.
Yeah, I guess I'd wonder then, like, why would I want to invest in multiple level 3s when I can just have one, like, level 8?
You can do that.
Yeah, I suppose so.
It kind of just depends on how you want your guy to go. If you just want to be like, my dude just has this big badass barbarian thing, which has a giant fuck off hammer that has a rocket propelled, like, fucking head, and he smashes down enemy encampments like that, there's nothing wrong with that. Or if he wants to go, all right, instead of me having my giant thing smash through here, I'll invest in also having a backup suit. Because also, I was going to have it to be where if your suit dies, you don't necessarily die with it. Yeah, you can eject out of it.
Roll out your backup.
But then at that point, your dude's starting at square zero. And if he doesn't have enough, if he's invested all into one, he's kind of, his dick's out in the wind with nothing.
Yeah. Okay, I can get that then. I guess going back to the magic thing, so would we want to keep magic 1-to-1, or we want to do it like mechanical attachments?
That would be like I was saying, like how do we want to keep this? Do we want to have it to be where we are more like kind of theater of the minding and out to where it's, because we do have it where they are specifically magical. That way we can hand wave away anything that doesn't quite make sense. Like like I was gonna say, all the megas are generic, but then you buy cores, and the cores are what has, like, you buy a rage core, which is what makes it a barbarian mega, or you buy a warlock core, which also has the essence of a fiendish, a celestial, whatever your patron's going to be. So basically, it will work. That will make it work backwards from that. That's for way later. So I guess in that case, what I was wanting it to be is where the pilots are less, they would have less class options than what the suits would have. That's what my initial thought was. Because at a certain point, then you would ask, why wouldn't I just make my pilot a level 30 wizard, as opposed to spending all that time and effort in making my suit badass? And I mean, there is a certain point where you just have to go, where you could just be like, come on, man, we're playing giant robots here. Or we can try to add that into the flavor, where I was going to say, like, maybe we just say there's only 3 classes or something like that.
So are we intending for the robots to be, like, remote controlled then? No, directly?
They would have, I was going to say they kind of have limited things they can do. Like, they can kneel down. That way you can get inside of them. Or they can do certain things like that. But I didn't want them to be something that you could really just have go off and do something else on their own.
Yeah.
So how does that sound? Would you want it to be like a thing to where your pilot can be any class, or would you rather have it be where they can only be basically fighters, or would you rather have it be like only slight options? Because this is basically the thing I've been thinking, like, trying to figure out this whole time is like what
should the characters advance or not?
They could definitely advance, but I was going to say the only way because I think that'd be like a central thing to actually give it stakes, is that every once in a while you have to have your pilot out of the suit doing something. Yeah. So they definitely need to be able to advance, but I don't know how to keep the stakes if they're just a normal D&D character, unless. Yeah, I don't know. Unless you just make the game super difficult out of the suit.
Yeah. it's definitely a difficult thing. I mean, like, what you could do is like the players could progress at half the rate of your mech in terms of resource.
Actually, I was going to have it to be where the players still get XP normal or get story XP, something like that, to keep them kind of balanced and they don't have to worry about going out and farming or whatever.
Yeah, so you could level them up at like a slower rate if you wanted to. And maybe it like caps up at like 10 or something.
Sure.
And like, you know, it takes a mech to get 20 level power, you know, or beyond that. But I think that's how one way you can go about it, to at least give the players some more control.
Right.
Or you can just go like the commoner route where, you know, we're like the characters in D&D who don't have level, like who aren't the adventurers, you know?
Okay.
And they just made mechs.
Right. So that would actually be a really cool idea, because then you can make it to be where like if they're like the people that are making the megas are something. Like if you find somebody who can actually make the shit, like the magic for it, you know those guys are fucking badasses. And the guys that are actually able to go out there and be the adventurers, they're a lot more fewer and far between than what you would see in your traditional D&D. To where like, yeah, like you're just commoners, and like the even thought of like, wait, what do you mean I would be able to rage to the point where I'm doubling my strength? That doesn't even make sense. Like, like it'd be like if I was like, James, I get so mad I can lift twice the amount of stuff. Like you'd be like, what the fuck are you on?
Yeah, so I picture like, you know, commoners just making this stuff, and like you could do like it could just be like a commoner doing the mech, and like they have the core that you're talking about, and that core itself can be like magically influenced, you know?
Right.
Like you could get like the warlock core, you don't necessarily know that, and it can be like hiddenly influenced by like a demon or something.
Sure.
And that's just a part of the core, and it naturally evolves as it, you know, takes maybe essence away from the monster, or just gets more resource to it.
Because that was also something I was thinking, is how, I guess this could go, we could come back around to this later, but like my thought was that just to make it to where it can be as, what was that, like a blank slate as possible, that every mega at level, there can be like a level 0 mega where it doesn't have any core in it or anything like that. And then that's like, they're basically all so basically every mega is the same. Or we could be where every mega is made to be a certain thing. That way you could be, that way, I was thinking the core thing, just to make it easy to have it swap in and out. Or we could have it be where it's a little more unique, where it's like you find basically it's like a kaiju-sized demon with basically armor strapped to it like Evangelion, and that's more like the warlock.
I think
Warlock.
Yeah, I think it'd be more fun if it was more like that. And like if you killed that monster and you got the resource for it, your team could be like, yeah, we have the resources to make this kind of mech. And then that kind of makes you have to pick and choose, you know, like, does this person want this kind of mech? Does that person want this kind of mech? And it's more of like a fun chance kind of thing.
Here's the thing we can think about that is, could it be to where there is megas where they're generic armors, but then there's, I don't know what the acronym would be, but there's more special ones where you can find the ones that are basically giant, like, let's, you know, keep with the warlock thing. There is that giant demon that somebody has like strapped up with armor, and like if like a player comes across somebody who already has that, like that basically starts at level 8 or whatever. Like those
like
are
if they
very,
take it from someone.
Yeah, like it's a very special. It's a special one.
That could be cool too.
Yeah. If you find like a one that's like, it's like super built, and like you can tell somebody has specifically crafted this thing to be extra barbarian-y or something like that.
I think that's what I think would be cool. One, you know, special boss fights for materials needed for specialized mechs.
Okay.
And you know, not having it, you know, having it be special for each thing. You know, like the barbarian mech. You know, you have to kill like a, I don't know, Tarrasque or something, something easier, but that theme. But also, you know, if you're, you know, getting into a fight with another faction or something of people, and you know you kill the guy but not the mech.
Sure.
You know, it's like, ta-da! Here's a level 5 rogue mech that we can roll out for stealth missions or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be cool. And you could get set up for like political intrigue too. I don't know if you wanted to have multiple factions or not.
There could be. I mean, I literally thought of like the most baseline, like how could this work? At first I was thinking, oh, there could be multiple planets. And then the first thing I thought was like, okay, so then wouldn't there have to be faster than light travel? Wouldn't somebody be like, can I put this faster than light thing on my robot? And then it'd be like, why can't it go faster than light on...
Yeah.
Airships. That's all you got.
Airships.
You can have blimps. That's the best you got, or whatever. On one planet.
Sorry, I forgot what I was thinking. But yeah, we got the magic. Mm-hmm. So we are going to keep magic as is, or...
I was thinking that we were going to keep... Yeah, when it comes to megas, they are like that because...
Like it's just like an essence of the core itself.
Yes, the core, as you're adding resource and you're adding bits and pieces onto the robot, that's what's able to draw out and be able to do all the magic stuff that makes it on par with basically, I don't know, Schmimmel the Magic Meister, who's the guy that's actually going and enchanting cores, who's actually like, he's actually a level fucking 15 wizard, like, which is unfucking heard of in this world. Like,
I can see how you can kind of explain some of it, because like a cleric one, it's just blessed by like all the clerics in the whole thing. It takes like a long time for them to properly bless it.
All right, so just looking at the character sheet, obviously class and level, we're kind of going on along with that. More or less how it would be if we're keeping it with the idea of a barbarian first, per se. Because that's the first one thing. You just basically buy packages. And level 1 barbarian package costs the same amount as it costs to get a level 1 character. Mm-hmm. And then you basically you have your generic frame and you put you on your barbarian level 1. You look at whatever it says for barbarian level 1, and now that frame can do that. And if you want to go to the second level of barbarian, or if you want to do anything after that, if we're keeping it with fluff, in order to add on infrastructure for that, you would take the multi-classing penalties that it says within the book. If you wanted to say, all right, now I want to add cleric, because now you have to basically adapt the core to be able to do something different than what it was maybe intended to.
Or even just trying to get two cores to work together could be a hindrance in itself.
Exactly. And then the more you add, the weirder it's going to make it work.
Yeah.
But it still can work. It just doesn't work as well as if you wanted to make it just one giant badass barbarian mech.
After looking through the character sheet here, like, would we even do skills?
I think that's when we'd have to look at how we might want to retool backgrounds, or if we want to include backgrounds at all.
Because I could see us keeping the individual character sheet for the actual character himself and doing all this. And I can see how saving throws can still be important for the mech, and how it could still make sense for the mech,
right?
Too.
I think that we'd probably cut it down, and then we might actually have to rework at least somewhat some of the, or maybe we wouldn't, because I'm looking at it, I'm thinking acrobatics it would want to keep, Arcana probably, athletics.
I don't know about animal handling.
Animal handling probably not. Because that would be more how...
A giant robot trying to pet a cat.
Yeah, like, don't...
Yeah. Smacks a cat.
Would we want to do intimidation? Because I'm looking at them, probably keep insight. Because that can be like sensors and shit.
Yeah, I could see intimidation being kept.
Investigation, probably.
Yeah.
Not medicine, not nature, perception. Not performance, probably.
And some of these depended if you want to use these for the actual character or not.
They would definitely all still work for the character if they get levels in it, but not for the robot, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of how...
We'd still do a sheet with all of this for the actual character.
Yeah, you would have multiple sheets. You'd have one sheet with your mega, one sheet with your guy. Not persuasion, not religion. Probably not sleight of hand. I can't imagine...
I think sleight of hand could be kept.
Yeah, that could work if you're trying to swipe something off another giant robot.
Yeah, or it could be, I don't even know what to think. Maybe if like a creature is holding something.
Exactly. Survival, you think?
Yeah, you could use that as a resource locator skill.
Sure.
Maybe. Or like how you'd find the creatures that you're looking for and stuff like that.
Stealth?
Yeah.
So yeah, we have it knocked down to where it would be only acrobatics, arcana, athletics, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, sleight of hand, stealth, and survival. And obviously the passive perception would probably actually... Would you want to give it to the pilot or the M.E.G.A?
It could be the M.E.G.A. It could just be the amount of perception that the M.E.G.A has. Because, some might have different fields of vision and stuff like that.
Here's a question. Now that I'm actually looking at it, do we do strength or do we do ability scores for the M.E.G.As? Or do they have a generic kind of skill ability set?
I could see how it could still be like skill based. Because like how much strength the mech has could still play into how well it can do like athletic stuff.
Right, but then that's what I'm. Okay, here's what we can do. You can have.
I think that should work okay.
But then my question is, how do we assign ability scores to it? Do we just
proficiency mod and then the skill?
Do we want to just have it to be okay? So it would make sense, but do we have? I'd say do the M.E.G.As just all have every single M.E.G.A will have a 16 to strength or something?
No. So would we roll it out?
That's what I'm wondering.
So that's what okay.
Or would
I think if we're creating the mech, we can roll it out, or we can do a point system.
Okay. Sure.
A point buy.
I'm gonna write this down. So, okay. So if you do a creation, it does a point buy.
And then if we earn the mech, or if we find a mech, it's just random.
Okay. Either
you decide, or we can just do a percentile, or we can just roll 6 times and keep whatever stats
and then just throw it on. Just roll it 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
And that can vary. Either somebody built a mech like this, it has structural
or they just had
supports.
No idea what they're doing, and it's shitty.
Yeah.
And then that could be another tool for resource to be spent to maybe increase. You can use it to increase the skill, maybe if it's not at 20 yet.
Right. I was thinking that there could be a way for you to basically buy feats and therefore also buy ability score.
Yeah, you just have to be careful with that.
That's
that
why
might have to be another that might have to be something separate.
I would say it'd just be a high resource cost,
specific, and then we'd have to define resources. Because if that's a higher resource, then we have to define is this resource like gold versus copper?
I was just gonna say resource just is that cost of gold. To keep it easy, but just also to say only certain places will accept resource, and then maybe you'd have to find somebody that will exchange out your resource. That way you can have enough gold for somebody to actually want to go in and add the feat or add the extra ability score onto it.
I think if I don't know, maybe they should cost I
was thinking it would cost this. I was gonna say it costs the same amount as a 4th level. Or whatever level you usually get ability score and feats at.
Yeah, you just have to be careful that they couldn't buy too much. And then
at the same time, if they have enough money for it, there's a point where it goes, you know what? They
just let them have fun.
They earned a lot of money. They can fucking make whatever giant robot they want. Maybe still cap it at 20.
Yeah. Yeah, 4th level XP. You can just go with that.
Also, something I could think would be... if you wanted to have... Well, that actually sounds fine. Let's do that. I was going to say something about doing different races as mechas, but I feel like that's adding an extra little bit of weirdness that we don't need to go into.
So would we ignore racial stuff?
For megas.
Okay, so we wouldn't do their stat bonuses either. Okay. That'd just be purely flavor.
Right.
So we'd still add that with our home character, right?
Yes, they would still have that. So if we're looking back at the sheet, so it makes sense for what strength they would have. It makes sense what dexterity. Constitution. If we're looking at what it actually helps you with, The only thing it really does is for Constitution saves and hit points. Would we say that's just like that? Constitution would be more like sturdiness and
just
how well it's built.
Yeah, how dense the material is, how well it's built. Because his hit points isn't really like, how cut up you are. Sometimes it's just like trauma or psychological damage. And
how many near misses you've had. Intelligence. How do we swing that for this? If we're looking at what it actually helps you do, that gives you. What does intelligence give you?
It could.
It gives you nothing except for Arcana checks.
Knowledge checks.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get rid of the knowledge checks.
Yeah, we'll get rid of that one, because I put that one in Arcana because doesn't that? No, because you use concentration for that anyway. So.
Yeah, so I don't know if we really need. Intelligence for the mech.
I don't think so.
But it would. I think unless you're like a wizard class mech, then you don't have a need for intelligence. But like a mech that had wizard
does it?
Because they use the intelligence modifier.
Do they? For casting off spells.
Yeah.
So we can just do. Okay, so how do we want to reflavor what intelligence would be then?
I mean, we can just get rid of the.
Because if they still use that for damage output, if it's still like something is plus your intelligence. I'm just saying that because I've never made anything that uses intelligence for damage. Let's see, do clerics use that, or they use their charisma?
Clerics have wisdom.
Wisdom.
So I'm trying to think. Could be just another. It could just be a part of the core itself, maybe. I mean, it could be like the CPU intelligence.
But then I'm still trying to think if we're more think of it in like a, maybe if we call it. I'm trying to think if it's
like to rename it.
Yeah, what to rename it, how to refluff it, because intelligence is how book smart you are and how much knowledge you have.
Processing power.
So we want to call it like. Because I'm trying to also think of it because it doesn't have like a CPU or something like that. It's basically a magic armor. Okay. So do we want to call it like interface or reactivity?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like. I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know. Because intelligence.
Because that's the thing that's always at 0 with constructs in general.
Yeah.
Because they usually don't have.
It doesn't. It's not a thing. I mean, or we can just say that wizards use like charisma.
We call it innate magic. Innate magic to it.
Yeah. Because that's what sorcerers are basically.
Well, we're gonna put that down as just in big bold letters. Intelligence.
Yeah. What? WTF? Intelligence.
All right. So then we go to wisdom, and I feel like
that can just be like perception.
Yeah.
That's basically what we're using it for.
But then you're also using that for things like healing and stuff like that. I guess you could still just say it's perception, more or less.
Yeah. I mean, we're not using medicine. Right.
But like, say you make yourself a cleric, they are able to heal people. And I would say we would kind of reflavor it to be like, that's more like a medic droid, a giant robot that can heal other giant robots.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could keep wisdom as is with our skill removals.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, I'm just more thinking how to reflavor it.
Oh.
I think perception is probably the way to go.
Yeah, just flat out perception.
Yeah. Even though there's like perception skill, like it's perceiving what needs to be fixed if you're using it for that. If it's something that can use like, you get your wisdom to damage rolls, that's it targeting certain places or whatever. So we can more reflavor wisdom as its ability to kind of guide your hand, like a VATS, like a assisted targeting type of thing.
I could see that. I would mention though, like targeting without a CPU.
Well, it's still magical.
it's magical.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
anytime it gets into that, like, well, technically, what is that? It's magic.
Okay,
it's the first word. Magic.
I mean, the core can be magically intelligent.
Could it? Do we want to have it be that?
If it's like
how
a demonic core with demonic influence in it, I can see how that could have an intelligence behind it.
Okay.
Or like if it's divined by the gods, like and stuff like that.
I actually like this. So like, and even you could even have a like a barbarian. It's like it has feral instincts.
Because that could be cool. Because you find
instincts. No, because that's more like wisdom anyway.
Yeah.
So we can have
wisdom could be instinct, and then intelligence maybe as is. But like what I was saying is that it could be cool. Like you kill someone who has the warlock mech. You take their warlock mech, but it's like a demonic presence to it, you know. And it's like trying to influence you and like give like quote unquote helpful suggestions on how to help your group out and help the party out. And it just fucks everyone over.
You know, it's like I don't fucking know this guy. He just fucking killed the dude that was driving me and then stole me.
All the kaijus come from like a demonic influence, and like it's trying to persuade you to help them out in a way that you don't know or something.
Right. So yeah, we can just. I like that.
Yeah.
Having cores be in very at least slightly ways they're intelligent.
Yeah.
And then that's at least a story beat you can play later is how intelligent.
Yeah, and you can keep the flavor of, you know, cleric cores being healthy, or sorry, not healthy, being holy, and some warlock cores being demonic and stuff like that.
You could have, you know, the dragon cores be made of dragon hearts, phoenix tail feathers, stuff like that.
Yeah. Cool shit like that.
Charisma.
The presence
of it. Core. Then how does that work with things like, well, yeah, that works still. So I guess in a lot of ways it comes down to the core.
Yeah, like the core could give off like an inherent...
Here's the thought. So basically I go, swap. You guys didn't see what I did. I drew a big line in between strength, dexterity, and constitution. That's the frame. And then intelligence, wisdom, and charisma comes from the core.
I think so. I think that's good.
Do we want to have it to be where certain frames, like there's like basically 3 types of frames that automatically have their stuff assigned a certain way, and then every core, which already has like that comes like, you know, a mech or a wizard core already has those 3 stats assigned a certain way?
Yeah. So you mean like
swallowing some soda pop.
So you mean like they all come that way? Or?
Right. So like if you buy yourself I'm looking at a warlock character sheet. So if we buy ourselves a warlock core, more or less, they don't need intelligence. So it comes with 0 intelligence. That's probably actually very inaccurate. People are going to be mad at me, but that's what I have on my goddamn warlock. Let's say it just has low intelligence, okay wisdom, and awesome charisma, because that's what they need. And then you can put that into a frame where either you went and bought a frame, and there's like frame A, frame B, frame C.
Like to swap out cores and frames.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
But we would also put this hard and fast rules. Once you have made once you have made a frame, like if you make a barbarian and you put a barbarian core in it and you level it up and it has like 3 levels of barbarian, you cannot take that core out and put it into your wizard frame.
Yeah. You could say like
once you have it in there, it locks in and it is interfaced.
Destroy everything.
To get it out, you would fuck up everything.
Yeah. I think it'd be more fun if you received it with random stats.
Yeah. But then the last thing I would want,
bot stats.
The last thing I'd like that for the frame, because I would say innately you can build that or whatever. But could you imagine getting a wizard core and having it be a fucking retard? It has a 0 intelligence.
Yes, that'd be funny.
We got a shit
the dunce cap.
We got a shit core, or maybe you don't buy cores that way, but if you find a core at a junk shop, you can't until you put it in a frame. You don't know.
How about a percentile?
Maybe.
And like each level of percentile comes with like a different point buy that you get.
I like this.
Because that's like the quality of core that you produce.
That we can say that's dependent. That can just be straight up who you bought it from. Did you buy it from Crazy Ed's discount core house? And it's like I'm half off all cores, and it's like sorry, you got a core with all zeros.
Yeah.
or did you go to the High Meister? I make one core a year, and it's always perfect. And it's got fucking 317s.
I think the percentile would be good.
Okay. We can do percentiles, and then you can go from there. Like you can be like, I want to go to the best core shop in this place. Like here it is, or I want to go to the cheapest core shop because I just need a core for my world or for my what we call him rogue. I don't care if he's that charismatic. He's just picking pockets anyway.
And for some reason, I really want to use like the Forge Cleric for this campaign.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
So I think that could be a cool way for him to shine. Because they have percentile rules with him too, I think.
And that would also be okay. So if we're going back onto pilots, do we want to have it to where you can only be commoners, or did we want to have it to be where you can basically only have a very select number of classes? What do we want? I'm gonna write it down right now.
So are you DMing this?
I would probably be DMing this.
So I think it's more up to you on whether you want to, how much you want the players to do in the story. Because if they're only commoners, then you have to think of ways that they can still do something, but without combat.
Here's the thing. Guns. I'm putting guns in the
game. There's fucking guns.
So there would be that at least, but I see what you're saying. I'm thinking that there can be, I think druids still have the thing where they can't use metal. So like obviously, dude, I know how much you want to be a druid that drives a giant robot, but if it can't happen, it just can't happen. Fucking sorry. Yeah. But I think we can do pretty much everything normal. And then if you get to a certain point, like here, how do you think about this? If my character has a better intelligence than my mech, would it be able to substitute that out? I think that'd be like an easy thing. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because then that brings up the question on whether the core itself is actually intelligent.
I think you can just override it, maybe. If
like,
it's
can it talk to you? Can it?
I think that
how sentient?
I think that would depend on the story you want to tell.
Yeah.
I think 9 times out of 10, no, because they don't want to actually give real sentience to this. They want to give slightly above construct sentience.
Yeah.
Like these are basically really good constructs that'll help you fight. But they don't want to give it too much to where it starts going, but why? What is my nature? They don't want to make it a Warforged.
You pass the butter.
Yeah. Like they don't want to make Warforged level intelligence.
Yeah.
But they don't want to make walk forward smash intelligence.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think that when you create the core, like it should either retain that intelligence or only advance if you spend resource to do that.
Okay.
Because that's saying that you put your intelligence in it is like imprinting yourself onto the core.
Well, I'm thinking more like your dude pilots it better than what he kind of like auto aim in like a video game. Like some people turn off aim assist because it kind of fucks with them. Like their aim is better than the aim assist will help with in that kind of a sense.
Yeah.
Like, shut up, I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
Like that's what that, like in that kind of a way.
Yeah. And we'll probably have to play test this and come back to
it.
But I can kind of see that.
Or in this kind of way, like Luke Skywalker flying down the trench of the Star Destroyer, he turns off his targeting computer because he can use the Force better than the targeting computer can shoot his missiles.
I feel like that's more of like a skill thing.
Sure, do it. Then in that case, we already are using that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So maybe just like your character.
Yeah, I guess I can, because I can see how that would work. Like sure, I'm really intelligent, but it doesn't help me because I'm in a metal box right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Like, that might be something that you pick up on, but that's not something that your robot necessarily does.
Mm-hmm. Or even that you're able to, or even if you would be able to pick up on that, since you are basically having to look at it through a screen, that you're not able to see it as clearly.
Because when I think of perception, I was thinking of like the screen, like displaying what the robot field of view is, and you know, like I don't know, like a cleric model might have like 360-degree view,
like a Halo,
repair any guy in trouble. Whereas like
a barbarian has a tunnel vision.
Yeah, just the dot.
It's a giant crosshair.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe players can just use their skills.
Yeah, they use their skills.
Yeah.
Because we do have it marked to where they can do certain things. Unless they have an X by it, which I have. You can't, like, what I remember, just go back and listen to what I listed earlier. I'm not going to listen again. Yeah. There are certain things that only your mega can do. Like, fucking Darkstalker, the level 10 rogue, is really good in being stealthy, but that doesn't help him because he's inside. He's a barbarian mech.
Yeah, so just marked skills can only be done by the mech.
And then unmarked ones you use within it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Another question I'm thinking of, can you cast spells in your mech? So if I'm a level 5 wizard and I have chain lightning, can I open up my cockpit and shoot out chain lightning?
I'd say if it makes sense.
The thing I was going to say is just straight up, yes, but anything a pilot does to a mech is a 1/6 the damage. And I forgot where I came up with that number, but I think it's because I was going to have it to be where they are 6 size categories larger. So they just do 1/6 the damage. And then anything that a mega does to a player is 6 times the damage. So do not fuck around. You can, but don't fuck around.
Yeah. 1/6 seems harsh though.
Because I wanted it to be where I don't go, well, that's a level 1 mega and I'm a level 5 character and I'm just going to fucking be Barney Badass.
Yeah. I think I would like 1/4 better, because like, say like we do get into situations where the mech's like completely destroyed and it's just the players on the run from these kaiju guys. It kind of gives them at least a little bit of a chance to attempt to fight it, you know, have that last like run back to the shelter, go, I'll hold them back, and maybe they can survive it, just to give them that perception of chance,
right? Or it's going like,
if I know this thing's gonna, if I know I'm only gonna do like 1/6 damage, like I'm gonna know it's hopeless from the start and probably just give up.
Right, but do we want? I think 1/4 sounds okay for now.
Yeah,
let's keep it at 1/4.
I'm not saying that has to be the size category difference.
No, yeah,
but just the damage difference.
Because actually, I'm going to look up because I was gonna have them be. I guess we can just address this while I'm looking at this. It's gonna be basically there's. Pilot size and then there's mega size. So I am pilot medium, but then if you get into your mega medium. Yeah. So that means you're fighting so they'll like say you're in a mega and you're fighting a large thing, just so that we can keep it straight. It's a mega large. Yeah. Whereas if you go out of that, you're a pilot fighting a thing that is mega large, which is. But
something 6 times the size of a colossal creature would be like planetary size, wouldn't it?
Not necessarily. Well, no, because it's not 6. It's 6 times larger than a pilot.
Okay.
I'm bringing up the size.
Which size kaiju?
If it's a mega large, that means it's 1 size category than gargantuan, or 1 size category than colossal. I'm going to look up a list. Just so I can figure it out.
Planet attacks you. What do you do?
Even colossal things are not that big in D&D.
It's still big as big as like a city, right?
No, I think they're only building size. I'm bringing up a list so I can actually look at this and I can speak with some authority.
Some authority.
All right. That's the least helpful looking. I'm looking at trying to look at like pictures that show how big things are.
So do you think we should just keep armor the same for simplicity? Or just like rename it?
Armor, it's basically armor plating. You can have, I have heavy armor plating, mithril armor plating, stuff like that.
Okay.
And then I think, and you can have it, like it's,
I think we could rename like leather.
Yeah, like I think if we got into it,
like nylon,
like that'd be like I don't know. It'd be leather. It'd just be really fucking thick leather.
Yeah.
It'd be like giant. Like I'm holding my fingers, but it'd be like that, like couple inch thick, as opposed to the padded kind of things. All right. I still cannot find a fucking size thing that just says colossal should be this size.
It's all good.
I'm sure somebody is actually listening. When you fucking idiots, don't you know anything?
We can just agree that's building size.
I'm gonna just open this up for a second. I'm gonna hit. All right, so we're back. I found it. Going back because we're talking about colossal stuff. It says colossals is 64 feet tall. So it's really it's like 3 stories, or is that 6 stories? I forget. Is it 10 feet a story? It's pretty tall.
I only have 2.
What?
I only have 2 feet.
Who has 2 feet? Oh, James.
Almost every person.
Stop it. All right, so colossal is 64 feet. That's the biggest that we have. And I'm basing the ideas of a mega on the size of a Gundam. So 64, that's basically 6 people standing on top of each other.
Sure.
Or if we want to be, that's like 10 people. Let's do that. That's like 10 people. That's not that tall. That's pretty fucking big, but it's not that tall.
Sure, we'll go with that.
It's pretty fucking big. But it can be bigger. Could you imagine a thing that dwarfs 64 feet? You could easily think of something that's way bigger than 64 feet.
Yeah.
Like a skyscraper. Could you imagine fighting something that's as tall as a skyscraper? Holy shit.
Holy shit.
So yeah, that's what I was going along with the...
You could do like an environmental challenge with that too. It's like the dragon that big, like flaps a swing once and like decimates it. Like
that was actually going to be a thing. When I was thinking about a generic story, I was going to say
Scorch Beast.
It's gonna start off in a desert town that didn't used to be a desert town, but a dragon that was mega colossal flew by it and fucking annihilated it because it flew. Like that's it. It's just that fucking big.
That's why they're all underground now.
Yeah, that's why everyone lives in like dwarf mines, because they don't want a dragon to fly by them and knock over their fucking town.
Yeah.
But have something like that. But that's what I was going to say. So you have the 2 different size categories, just so you can keep it easy, with air quotes I'm making, easier. So if you're in a mega, you're fighting a kaiju, I say it's mega large, okay, so comparison to my mega, it's large. Whereas if you're out of it and you go, it's mega large, just know it's too fucking big. Get the fuck out of there. It's over 64 feet. Yeah. It's like 7, it's gigantic. Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Get to your mega.
Then it might be helpful to come up with like an actual scale.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and I look and I go, all right, so they say colossal is this, they say gargantuan is this, and just reverse engineer that and go up and up and up.
And then maybe you can do the damage reduction based on that scale. Like your damage is divided by
on
this much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we can do that when we come up with the scale.
And that only accrues once it goes to colossal. Because if you fight in something that's gargantuan, I guess you
could say at a certain point it just doesn't even like a little tickle.
Yeah, because I'm thinking if we're fighting something that's more or less, if it's mega tiny, that'd be basically medium, right? And I know at that point you're pulling straws or pulling hairs, but then if you think, you're fighting a mega medium dog. And it's only the same size as my fucking robot, but it's still the same size as a fucking robot, and it's just a dog.
Yeah.
But then you're you need to keep what kaiju and what megas can do, and like because they're basically completely different than their pilot-sized counterparts. Because like a kaiju orc, it's gonna have giant thick skin and fucking like I don't know, super big legs and shit. Big legs.
Thick legs.
You know what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
Even like a cat, which is tiny. If we make it a kaiju cat, it's gonna be crazy fucking big compared to a human.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying. Size category done. That's going to be the most annoying thing. But as long as we just hand wave it away and say, keep it easy, keep it simple, you'll be fine.
I think as long as we have a scale for it, it's all
and
good.
I think that'll be easy enough if we just figure out, if we just basically reverse engineer. If we say, they say medium is 5 feet, they say large is 10 feet. If it just goes up and up and up like that, we'll be able to keep that scale just fine.
I don't know if your reach really increases in 5.
I don't think so. But that's also another thing I was going to say, is that
like should reach increase?
It definitely should. But what point does it, and in what way? Because I was going to say, like, just thinking about it's in my mind, if I'm in a giant 60-foot robot, the size of my fucking hammer is going to be stupid.
Yeah.
So should every attack with a mega be an area of effect attack, just to make it easy?
I don't know, because like they're still like the same, like everything's the same, basically just upscaled.
Well, I mean, if a mega is hitting a pilot, or if there's like 10 orcs, should he be able to slam his hammer down? Because he's basically fighting, if we're reverse engineering it, if I'm a 5-foot thing fighting something that's a 10th my size, so that's I don't fucking know math. What's a 10th? 5 feet times 12, that's 60. So something that's 6 inches tall. If I'm fighting 10 6-inch tall things, and I have a fucking hammer, like a fucking a D&D hammer that's basically an iron on a stick, I'm gonna be able to hit like 4 of them every time I swing.
Yeah.
Or if I have a fucking axe, it's like using a broom.
But then you'd also have to say that that's scalable too, and then you have to come up with a scale for that.
I think at a certain point you just go, nah. It just if we say it is mega or kaiju, whatever sized, then it gets area of effect attacks, and if it's not, then it doesn't.
I just don't think that the area of effect should be too wide.
I was just gonna say whatever, like it's just the 5, and then like you hit the 5-foot square, and then like everything's adjacent to it.
And you can like multiply that by 2, I guess, each time you get a size higher or something.
I guess, but I was gonna keep it just
or add 5.
I was just gonna say that, and then just do reach the same way that they want to do it, and it can just be like boom.
Wow.
And then I know technically if you have a sword you're slashing, so you'd be doing a line effect. Do we want to do that to where it's like instead of it doing a 9 square, it does a 9 line? I just say, what are the odds that there's 9 things in a straight line?
Yeah. So I don't know if that'd be good.
Well, I mean, as in a way of saying it's balanced, because there's not very much chance that you're actually going to be hitting things in a 9-foot line.
No. Yeah, I was agreeing, like, that wouldn't be good if you could just do all that.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be OP or whatever.
I mean,
and even if
we just say, like, it takes too much time to do that, even.
Yeah.
For the giant robot to swing this sword, and, like, not a single one of them can move. Because that would happen within a fraction of a second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going to say it's Attack on Titan fucking logic, where... Because, like, if you see how, like... Because, like, technically, yes, if something is gigantic, it makes it move really slow. But then we start getting into, well, wouldn't it get minuses for this reason and that reason? And
yeah.
It's all Attack on Titan logic, where if you're bigger, you move at the same rate, you're just bigger.
Yeah.
You
just got the muscles for it.
Just wave your hands and go, I don't want to have to go, well, minus this and minus that. You get disadvantage.
Yeah, you can only attack as the widest area of effect that you get for your size. Just keep it that.
We'll keep it that. If other problems come up, then we'll fix it as it comes.
This is 5e, so
it's everything
okay to be simple.
It's okay to be, because we want it to be simple.
Yeah.
We want this to be something that you can go, I want this, and pop it onto whatever kind of game you want to play. If you want to put this onto a really high power game where you are a guy that if you want to walk up and go, I cast fucking lightning bolts on this thing and I'm level 20, so I am literally shattering fucking armors left and right. If you want to play that game,
yeah, maybe we'll make a Pathfinder version, but
yes.
That'll be way off.
Anyway, James, what were you saying before we started rolling?
I was asking if we should be able to buy racial features like dark vision and Fey ancestry as additions onto the robot or the core.
I think that goes back to when we were looking at the races. Like, do we want to add races into the game? So to the core or to the frame?
Because like does every robot come with dark vision?
I wouldn't think so.
So
I think that'd be
how
extra.
Would you get that?
Exactly. So would that be a core feature or a frame feature?
I'd say it depends. Like dark vision could definitely be a frame feature. Mm-hmm. It's just like lights or something, or some kind of. I don't know how in depth you want the technology to be.
I think that could be a fluff. Well, that could be a fluff thing. Like you could be like,
it could be like magically enhanced.
Yeah, like I go out and I buy flashlights and I strap to the head and I can go click and it turns on flashlights. Or you can be like my frame has infrared sensors.
Yeah, so I
you can have either or.
I think vision definitely makes sense for a frame, but like I was saying, like Fey ancestry, like that can be like a core modification to where it's more resistant to different types of magical effects. Or the Dragonborn breath attack. That could just be like a flamethrower attachment.
Sure. So, okay, so I can see how it could be either way. I would think that since we are already putting so much stock into cores, since it's going to be like they add the intelligence and everything, and they can kind of be slightly, and they already have so much stock into being what class they are. I think it would make sense to have your frames hold your race. So you can get a generic frame, which is like I said, a level 0 frame, and then whenever you go to get your first, make it to a level 1 frame, or if you just want to in any way, basically make it a not human frame, make it a dwarf frame, whatever, make it a dragonborn frame, then that will cost X amount, and then that will be its own thing just for the frame.
So basically, anytime any frame advances to level 1, they pick a race.
No, I think I did explain that poorly. Basically, you can if you can get your generic frame, which what I'm just calling a rant, like you get a frame from Frame Depot. And Frame Depot only has human frames.
Yeah.
Or say you do go and you have one place that only has human frames. You can then take that to Frame-O-Zone and you can buy a Dragonborn kit and you add it onto there and it gives it the breath weapon, it gives it the hide and everything like that. Or it gives it the tiefling thing.
So basically all the races we're thinking of putting into kits basically that you can add on.
Yes, and it pretty much at any time.
Okay.
But you like we say, once it's on there, it's worthless if you try to take it off.
And could you have multiple races?
No.
Okay.
Because it basically it's like trying to put on 2 hood ornaments on your car. It's just like,
this is tacky.
It's tacky. No one does that. It's stupid.
Okay. So yeah, we could do that.
Okay, so we'll say
we'd have to rename it to like I don't know, cosmetic features or hydraulics.
Let me think. So
circuitry.
Call it frame type.
Yeah. Frame type versus like the actual circuits and hydraulics and stuff.
Because your frame type like you go and you get yourself a dwarf frame type, you take off a lot of stuff to make it really kind of a stocky thing that's actually like it's reinforced in certain areas.
It's inherently made for that.
To be extra stable. Yeah. To that's more like making it a... Do we want to... This is something we can do now we've added all of this extra layer. Do we want to go through all the races and reskin them to be certain, like to name what kind of frame that is? To where you can actually, to where I was saying like a dwarf frame could be that's a mining frame.
Shortstop.
Or no, it's like a mining frame. So like it's made to go in there and
Yeah, we could do that.
And and like dragon frames, demon
just
frames.
Call them dragon, the dragon frame,
the demon frame.
Yeah,
because
it just comes with like it's like heat resistant or something.
Yeah, it has
with this cannon or something like the spray or something.
Exactly. All right, cool. So that's another thing we get to look at some point. We've been talking for an hour now. We're just rocking and rolling. I think at this point, we are going to give you guys a break. And we're going to stop it for now. This is General Rules Part 1. And we're going to hit pause now. We'll be back in just a while to give you guys General Rules Part 2. And for now, this has been Blake.
James.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Some other time, I guess.